to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Skip me, Sarah.
Two Americans living in Sweden talking about football. Hey, man, we're not degenerates at all, or gambling addicts or anything like that. I like to think, but we got rocked this week. I don't normally care as much, but like to see that I kind of don't know anything, it feels like that. You know, when we get stuff right, it doesn't. I don't care about the money because we're not even betting that much money. But when you get stuff right, it's more like, see, I know football. I should have a podcast about football. Our results this week make me want to shut down the podcast. Do we deserve to talk about football when we got every single game wrong? And then on top of that, and flip 'em, pick 'em, I don't even want to talk about flip 'em, pick 'em. I'm getting my ass whooped, man. I'm getting my ass whooped.
I did whoop that ass this week and flip 'em.
You won 9-6. I was just looking at it.
I'm pretty sure I won 10-6.
Oh, no, I didn't put the Bears game in yet.
5, 6.
I hadn't put the Bears game in yet.
See, look at you.
Look at that. You won 10-6. It got worse as I speak, man. It's just, I'm over here. I'm wearing glasses today. Those of you watching, you see I'm wearing glasses because I cried my contacts out. I woke up with irritated eyes. I was like, I got to give my eyes a break. But
I will say this. We did not have a very good weekend betting on football.
No.
But for me personally, I had my Georgia Bulldogs winning their last game of the season, record-breaking 29th victory in a row, headed to the SEC championship next weekend.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
And the Falcons beat the Saints. So for me, like on the field, and for those of you, we talked about this in the betting episode, which will never be mentioned again because that was. But we had an amazing Thanksgiving get together at my place on Saturday. Everybody came through. Everybody brought some food.
And everybody brought it.
Everybody brought their children.
Skills in the kitchen.
And it was on. It was great. It was
fantastic.
It was a good old fashioned Friendsgiving. Chosen family.
It's the best family there is.
And we had, I said to the kids, I was like, we've celebrated Thanksgiving a lot, but here in Sweden, but I think that might have been the most American Thanksgiving I've ever had. Oh,
because football's on the TV?
Well, because we had we had the food in the kitchen. We had Michigan, Ohio State on in the living room. We had LSU, Texas A&M on in the bedroom. Yeah. We had kids running around having fun. Yep. We had a pregnant lady passed out on my bed because she couldn't breathe. I mean, it was just one of those things where it
felt like home.
It was like everybody just do you. It's all good. Like everything's fine. You know. Yep.
We just didn't have a racist uncle. That's all I'm thinking.
That's true.
Man. We got to get a racist uncle, man.
I feel like, yeah.
But that's why you leave. That's why we're all here.
That's
all the
true.
expats, we're all here because of the racist uncle.
That's true. Yeah,
it was really nice.
It's on the list of reasons you move 4,000 to 6,000 miles away from home. It's just what to do.
And that's why people have to keep that in mind during this time of year, especially if you're doing something like betting, like how small that other shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like the betting on the football, your team and all that stuff, they can make you feel good, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, life could be good, man. So I don't mind we flushed a bunch of money down the toilet and bet on the wrong future Hall of Fame coaches against rookie actor quarterbacks. I'm tired too. A parlay.
Bill Belichick loses to Joe Pesci. What's happening?
But let's get to it, man. Thanksgiving, the actual Thanksgiving games. It was Thursday. It made it feel like I didn't eat Thanksgiving food until Saturday, but Thursday, like having the games on in the evening like that, it felt so good, man. It felt like, man, I felt full almost like as if I had been eating a bunch of turkey, but it was really nice to just watch the games.
But yeah, I'll say this. I think as far as the game is concerned, it kind of felt like the Lions maybe had Thanksgiving dinner too early because the Packers came out and dropped 20 points on them in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean,
We saw the Rams golf came back.
Yeah, this was supposed to be, like one of the first years in a long time that the Lions obviously hosting Thanksgiving, but also being relevant and good. But the Packers showed out. Goff didn't throw any picks, but he lost 3 fumbles, which obviously made Green Bay's job a little easier. That being said, I thought Jordan Love this is 2 weeks in a row. He's just he's finding his best football.
Yeah, man. He's looking the part, man.
I think so too. I mean, I kind of think he's doing enough to warrant the idea that there might be something there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of the eye test thing. Like, you can just see it. I mean, we'll get to it in a little while. Despite a Falcons win, you look at Desmond Ridder. You hold these 2 quarterbacks up, and I know, and we beat the Packers this year. But it's like
he's in his 4th year, though, bro. Jordan Love's got a chance. He had a chance to sit on the bench and sit behind a Hall of Famer for a bit.
Yeah, my point is that you can just see it. I don't know how to describe it. You can just see it. This guy's a real quarterback, and they did let the Lions kind of crawl back into it a little bit, but honestly, I thought they played great.
That's because the Lions have a better roster. That's all. They got up ahead of them. They got to LA Golf, but the thing that's not spoken about enough is what we did. Well, I mean, we did bet on the. That's one bet we won. We started off nice and strong.
That's
we
true.
thought the Lions, the Packers would cover, but we didn't look up into the sky and check out the type of moon that it was, because it was a waxing gibbous moon.
Oh, wow.
And that's what was in the sky. And it's in the sky when darkness falls. It lights up in the early evening. It appears more than half lighted, but it's less than full. And it comes between the first quarter moon and the full moon. And the Lions on Thanksgiving have lost all 12 of their games on a waxing gibbous moon night. And this night was a waxing gibbous moon. And there's no way the Lions.
Maybe it's because they play in a dome. They can't see the moon, so they don't know.
They didn't know any better. And the moon still did what it did. And the Lions lost again, 13th time in a row. Waxing gibbous moon.
Weird
Just
stat.
Out there.
I like it.
Yeah.
Weird stat. I'm here for it. That's like the next scoregami.
Which happened. We had one.
I know. Like, hit me with the...
Is scoregami, is that your mock draft?
Scoregami is officially my,
is your mock draft?
Do not care. To me, I can't wait for them to run out of scoregamis so that whole community can just drift off into the sea.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you.
I really could not care less about a scoregami.
Yeah, but that game, I wouldn't panic if I was the Lions. I know people want to panic. They're feeling themselves. They've lost a couple games we thought they shouldn't win, but they won some games we thought lose, but they won some games we thought they shouldn't win. So they're 8-3, man. Don't panic. You'll be all right. You got a good coach. You got a good quarterback. I just gave him praise. It's my fault. I said golf has arrived. So,
I mean, one of the things I'd like to do at the end, once we go through the games, is to take a look at the standings, because I feel like that's starting to become very relevant.
Oh yeah.
Obviously the good news for the Lions is that, the Vikings lost last night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the good news for the Packers is that, because the NFC is so trash, they're kind of right. They're legitimately in the hunt to make a playoff spot. So
a few teams like that. How's the Commanders in the hunt? Are they hunting? They're the hunted.
Well, the Commanders, yeah, in the world of predator v prey, the Commanders were prey this Thanksgiving, losing 45-10 to the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Sam Howell got sacked a lot. He's crazy. He's crazy though. He gets sacked a lot, but he still manages to throw for 300 yards. I mean, what are you supposed to say about the Cowboys? Again, you do have to. I mean, they have 8. They're 8-3. They obviously have a talented roster, but I think like you said, that the Cowboys and the Dolphins kind of shared a bit of DNA this year, where they they beat up on bad teams, like severely beat them up.
And we bet it against it like it is.
I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, the good news for the Cowboys is that, even though they do beat bad teams, Tony Pollard has had a pretty substandard year. And now he's got 2 weeks in a row where I wouldn't say that he's like exploded necessarily, but he's been way more productive and functional in the last 2 weeks. Dak did what Dak has been doing. It's just been kind of lighting these teams up left and right. Yeah. I would say the MVP of the game for me, obviously it has to be Deron Bland, who, we just talked about him last week, tying the pick 6 record, and then he goes out and breaks it. And the way that he broke it, like, he had to do some legitimate work
and they probably did some work beforehand to jump that route like that.
Yeah, he jumped the route, and then he made 2 guys run into each other. Like, he really. It was beautiful. Special.
That's a way to break. That's a way to break that record, man.
It was pretty great. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and see it. It's pretty dope. We're gonna get to the fact that it's firing season when we get to the Panthers game. I don't know if Ron Rivera is going to make it the rest of the year, to be honest. He
won't make it into next year. Sorry, Ron.
He won't make it to next year, but I think there's going to be
a new regime. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of head coach jobs. There's going to be a lot of vacancies that are going to need to be filled.
You think Kyle Shanahan's job is safe?
Yeah, he's probably done just enough to hang in there.
Okay. Well, they put the Seahawks over their lap and spanked them.
Sure did.
How many times? That should have been my Price is Right question. How many times can we see Geno on the table talking to the media before they stop showing that shit during the game? Oh my God, they ran that into the ground. The Geno Smith, because he was an elbow issue and all. It's like, oh, we get it. Yeah. He was hurt, and you talked. They did an interview. You had camera crew there. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what the hell these people are thinking.
Yeah.
Geno had a rough day
at the office,
so he probably should have stayed on that table. He was 18 for 27, 0 touchdowns, a pick. He got sacked 6 times.
They were outmatched, bro.
The San Francisco defense has really come back to life, more or less.
They did the same thing. They did it again, bro. They did it again. They used the trade deadline and juiced the team up with Chase, man. I'm Chase Young. Chase Young being over there on the other side, it's just sick.
Yeah.
And Geno's so vocal, too. Oh, my God.
That was so funny. I'm like, okay, so McCaffrey did what we all expect him to do. 19 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel had a fantastic game as well. I'm a little concerned. I don't know what the Seahawks problem is per se, but the whole DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett situation, I don't know if it's a Geno Smith problem or what, but it's just not working this year. Like these two guys who are normally, kind of automatic are just having incredibly mediocre seasons this year compared to what you would expect them to have.
Don't forget what we expected from Geno when Pete Carroll said, I got 2 starting quarterbacks, and we said, you have 0. Remember that? That we were like, Geno shouldn't be in the league and all that shit. And then he surprised us all and had a top 10 quarterback performance last year. Keeping that up is unlikely. So he regressed past the mean. He's still better than what he was. Like, he's still a little scary. But before, it used to be laughable.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Now that you mention it, I feel like if I could pick a theme for this week, it would be the back down to earth thing.
But they are who we thought they were.
Like everybody relax, right?
Yeah.
Everybody calm down. Same thing happened in the Vikings, Josh Dobbs. It's like, we'll get to that game later, but yeah, a lot of teams got humbled this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we expected to happen. I mean, the 49ers are back in a big way. And for them, it's just a question of can they stay healthy with a coach who is continuing to play his best players, even though they're up by 3 scores. So we'll see. We'll see if they can manage that. They did lose somebody really important in this game, I think, though.
The Seahawks?
No, the 49ers lost the defenseman, didn't they? I can't remember.
I don't know. I know I saw Fred Warner, the most important, I think.
That's it.
Is he out?
Was it Fred Warner?
No, I'm saying I saw him in the post game. He looked healthy, so that's the one I'd be worried about. Like, you don't want to lose Fred Warner.
They lost somebody. I think it was a knee injury of some sort. I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're a 49ers fan, you probably already know, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. What's next? The another game that was kind of lopsided, but still exciting at first, I guess. The Dolphins. It's concerning for a Dolphins fan. The Dolphins beat the Jets 34-13. They covered. On paper, it looks nice.
Right.
The Jets looked as bad as we thought they would with Tim Boyle coming out there. The craziest turnaround you could ever have is there's 2 seconds left. You made Dolphins missed a field goal. Was that what it was? Or they went for it on 4th down?
No, Tua threw an interception.
Yes, Tua throws an interception, just going for like another late to the outside interception. I guess late for Tua to the outside interception. And there's 2 seconds left, and instead of kneeling on it, which you don't want to do that, they go for the Hail Mary. Boyle's got a big arm, throws the Hail Mary pass. It doesn't make it to the end zone. Javon Holland catches it in front of all the skill players that could possibly run him down, and he's a punt returner. He's also a punt returner, and I saw his. I should have grabbed his press conference because they asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, all the skill players are behind me pretty much, except for Bell." And I saw Wilkins take him out, and I was like, "It's just me and the quarterback," and had to take his ankles. And he did. Boy, did he. He just juked the shit out of that quarterback, man. Boy was like, whoop, whoop. And then it was touchdown. I was losing my mind. I watched it afterwards. I couldn't watch the game live. I had a gig, but I watched it after. I was losing my mind.
I'm not going to lie. I really enjoy the way Jets fans suffer. There's like I'm
kind of feeling bad for him.
And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like I really don't. I mean it in like there's sort of a dark comedic brilliance to the way Jets fans suffer this team. There was a lot of chatter about why are we always the team that has like a play that actually gets a nickname? You know what I mean?
Butt fumble, fake spike. What are they calling this one?
They're calling it the Fail Mary. Like, and that nickname emerged almost like before the end of I think I woke up to it the next morning, and it was like
Hail Mary.
They were people. The whole everybody was already calling it the Fail Mary. It was just like
Wow.
It was very funny.
Yeah, that's great.
But you're right. It did take a minute for the Dolphins to get cooking. Mostly, obviously, because of the Jets' defense. But this is just what the Jets do. My big concern for the Jets is that, Jesus, how many times did we hear this weekend that Aaron Rodgers is going to practice this week?
Yeah. Stop it, man. Distraction.
It doesn't.
It's not going to do shit. They're 4-7. You're not going to play. You have to win out to get to the playoffs. He's not coming back this week. So Tim Boyle's going to have to carry the load until it's like, shut the fuck up, Aaron. Relax. Go get better.
And the other thing he needs to remember is that one of the Jets' biggest problems is still their offensive line. This is the reason why why you went through this Achilles injury in the first place.
No, the reason why he went through this Achilles injury, and we saw it in this game, because we lost a major player that might.
Exactly. That's part of it too.
Is the fucking MetLife Stadium that was complained about by the players. So, they asked Javon Holland in that same press conference, and he said, we knew coming into this game that the field is trash. And he said that my homeboy, he named the player, I didn't know who the player was, went down, lost a season in my rookie year because of that field. And everybody knows that field is trash, man. We try to stretch and get around it, but it's trash. And it's like, if the players are knowing that, then the owners ain't shit. And it's they're sharing the field. Y'all can't put the money up for the grass, and it's two of y'all organizations. It's crazy.
And that's a huge loss for you guys.
Yes, Jalen Phillips is a baller.
That is a big, big loss. It'd be really it'd be interesting to see, because he's one of those players that, when he doesn't play, the Dolphins look like a different football team.
Yes,
like his
hair on fire.
He's that big. He's that big of a deal, I think. So, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I agree with you. It's inexcusable. Obviously, they can't do anything about it during the season, but I don't know. It just feels like something.
This is when the NFLPA needs to come up. This is the stuff they should be talking about in the negotiations, as well as guaranteed contracts and all that stuff. They need to talk about these address the stuff that the players hate, because you're the fucking union. Stop giving in to these owners, man. But yeah, we left the game with that feeling of we beat our rival, but damn, Tua didn't look great, and we beat a shitty team again. People are gonna talk about that, and we lost one of our best defensive players.
But interestingly enough, by the end of the night, you were the best team in the AFC. The AFC lead changed hands 4 times this weekend.
Wow,
4 times.
Damn, I didn't even notice that.
First, it was the Dolphins. First, it was the Dolphins, and then it was the Jags, and then it was the Chiefs, and then it went back to the Ravens.
Chiefs tried to keep that shit going. All right, then we got the let us know about your boys, man.
Speaking of leaders and by leaders, NFC South leaders as of Sunday night with a losing record, mind you, is the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Jesus, where do you start? You had Desmond Ridder looked really bad. I mean, and it was one of those games where you could tell we were playing around Desmond Ridder.
That's a sign of good coaching. I mean, that should feel good.
Yeah, even Isak, who has been defending Desmond Ridder all year, finally said, you know what? I don't think Desmond Ridder is the guy. And both me and Saga were like, what? He's finally said it. This was not a good performance by him. He was 13 for 21, 168 yards, 1 touchdown pass, and 2 picks. And it was one of those things where, he always throws a pick at the most heart gut punch, kick me in the nuts kind of moment where we string together. It's like 5 or 6 plays where you're just like, man, the offense looks like it's humming. Like, we're functional. We're moving the ball. There's another first down. Oh, that was a nice little play. Oh, I like that. Good job. Bang, pick. You're just like, God damn it. But Arthur Smith, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's finally seems to have figured out. I'm not going to say he figured it out because I felt like I was going to say he seems to have figured out the Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Cordarrelle Patterson recipe. Like, how are you going to use this? I mean, it felt like he had figured it out early in the year, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. But this was, to me, like a recipe for the perfect meal, right? Bijan runs the ball 16 times for 91 yards and a touchdown. Algier runs it 10 times for 64 yards. Cordarrelle Patterson comes in 8 times for 43 yards. I mean, to me, that's just like, you couldn't ask for much more. And you got Drake London with 5 catches for 91 yards. Like, this is probably the most balanced Falcons offensive performance I've ever seen, despite the fact that Ritter was out here throwing picks. But 100% the man of the match has got to be Jesse Bates III.
Yeah, I mean, he's the engine in that defense, man.
He completely swung the momentum because, the Saints scored on their first drive, and then we only managed to kick a field goal on our first drive. And then when the Saints got the ball back, and you kind of felt like, oh shit, here we go. Because we couldn't, for whatever reason, we could not stop the Saints from moving the ball down the field until they got to the red zone.
Yeah.
The Saints get to the red zone, and I don't know if that's a Saints problem or if it's like a Falcons having good red zone defense.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But that play where Jesse Bates, and you could see Carr was staring the receiver down the whole time. It's not
man.
And when they showed the all 22 angle, and you could see Jesse Bates in the safety position, he was staring right at Derek Carr.
Yep.
And you could see the second that he moved, he knew exactly. I mean, he was a good 20 yards away from the ball, and he knew what was going to happen. He picks it and takes it to the house. And he also, there was another red zone trip where he punched out a fumble. He caused a big fumble. I mean, the same 5 trips to the red zone, and they got 5 field goals out of it. You can't ask much more.
The kicker was just racking him up. I was like, damn.
You can't ask much more than that from your defense. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was very encouraging. It was really great to see them getting Bijan out wide. I think he's better. I don't think it's very smart to try to run Bijan up the middle. I think it's better when they get him out wide. And they even threw a touchdown pass to him.
Wheel route.
That wheel route. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
This was great. I mean, again, we have a losing record, and we're the number 1 team in the NFC South. And oddly enough, I mean, we're tied with the same record as the Saints, but we're 3-0 in the division. Like, three of those 5 wins are all division wins, surprisingly enough.
That's important in the end of the year with tiebreakers. Division record is up there.
So,
you ready to talk about another division rivalry? With the
let's do it.
All right, this one is
a shit bowl brought to you by Xlex.
Kinda. We had a worse shit bowl, but this one is Browning. Speaking of shit bowl, against the Steelers. Kenny Pickett put up some numbers. Kinda, he almost hit 300 yards, but man, I knew this looked like how I thought it was gonna look. Man, Steelers gonna muck it up, keep you from scoring a lot of points, and then come out of there with a victory. They're 7-4 right now.
So weird.
I don't have much to say about it, actually. Just that, it's kind of what we expected. The Bengals their destiny is controlled by Zach Taylor, and at this time, return of the whack. Return of the whack.
Yeah.
It's that time, man. Whack Taylor's back at it out here letting his team down, and they're going to lose, and they're probably going to keep him throughout the season and say they lost because they didn't have Joe Burrow, but maybe they're only winning because they have Joe Burrow. Yeah. Imagine them with a real coach. That's all I'm saying.
I think I'll say that watching the Bengals without Joe Burrow is depressing.
Yeah.
It's just such a shame for what has been a really entertaining team over the last couple of years to just be gutted by the absence of Joe Burrow. The only sort of fun thing to say about the Steelers is that obviously this is the week after they fire their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, and it's the first time since Matt Canada that the team has had over 400 total yards on offense. It obviously didn't really show up in the scoreboard.
No, but that's dope.
But I will say this: there was, there were a couple of nice George Pickens sightings. But I mean, how many times did Kenny Pickett manage to get that crossing route across the middle to Pat Freiermuth? I mean, it felt like every time they needed a first down, it was the exact same play every time, and the Bengals couldn't stop it.
It was like a Madden.
Yeah,
it's like Madden when somebody does the same shit. 9 catches, 120 yards, and Canada just didn't use the guy.
Najee Harris had one of his best games. I mean, he was running. Yeah, he was running angry and hard.
That's all they do. Run hard and angry.
So I don't know why they didn't score more points. I mean, they just, I don't know, whatever. They won the game, and the offense looked more functional. I'm still not a big fan of Kenny Pickett. Like, if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm still hoping that they move on from him. To be honest,
I don't know, man. Give him a chance with the new coordinator. I don't know. I think he's got tools.
Just feels like a backup to me. Just saying, he feels like a backup.
How does Will Levis feel to you?
He also feels like a backup. Yeah, I'm on record with Will Levis. I mean, they didn't win this football game because of him. They beat the Panthers 17-10. I mean, Will Levis, 18 for 28, 185 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Good for you. This game was just, whatever. This game was boring as fuck. Yes. Honestly, it's just a terrible football game. I mean, Derrick Henry scores 2 touchdowns, but it's like, it wasn't like it was some vintage Derrick Henry performance. Like he's back, and then on the other side of the field, Bryce Young is out here getting sacked over and over again, and can't throw for over 200 yards. The run game is nothing to write home about. This guy just doesn't have any real pieces around him necessarily. I mean, his top receiver is Jonathan.
Whose fault would you say that is?
Well, I would. Okay. So I already know the answer to this because, I mean, I would put it on the owner because unlike there are different kinds of owners, and David Tepper is obviously one who likes to put his finger on the scale, despite the fact that he's not a football guy. Obviously the big news yesterday afternoon for us, morning for America. After going 1-10 on the season, David Tepper fires head coach Frank Reich. And then about, 3 or 4 hours later, they announced that they're also firing the quarterbacks coach, Josh McCown, as well as the running backs coach, Deuce Staley.
That sounds like a divided staff.
But they didn't fire the GM.
Oh yeah.
Which is a little strange.
It's very strange. He'll probably go at the end of the year.
Yeah, but it's also, to me, what that says is that Tepper is the kind of guy. I've never met David Tepper, but I've met a lot of people like David Tepper, and David Tepper is the kind of guy who always needs a yes man in his back pocket. And I'm assuming that whoever the GM is that yes man that he needs in his back pocket. And I'm also assuming that he's the guy who helped him to take Bryce Young instead of CJ Stroud which we all know is the quarterback that that Frank Reich really wanted. Now, would C.J. Stroud be better than Bryce Young with this Carolina Panthers football team? It's kind of hard to know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
I'm wondering how you can watch. Like, this is the first season in a long time that there's two players that people think might be MVP that are not quarterbacks. And one of them you traded away. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time in a long time they're like, whoa, there's a legitimate argument for these two guys to possibly be MVP. And it's like, this guy that you're keeping on your staff is the one who let that one of them go. And what's the return you got?
Not only that, that's a great point, but another point that is quite similar that probably goes overlooked is that, when you fired your coach last year, you had an interim coach that the players really responded to and played hard for, and you let him leave too.
Yep. You went after the big name, and that was Tepper's idea.
Yeah, you went after the shiny toy. Frank Reich has a lot of history with the Panthers. Frank Reich was actually the very first quarterback of the Carolina Panthers when they came into existence.
Expansion.
But, there are a lot of articles popping up this morning about how the Carolina Panthers have a David Tepper problem, that's the real problem that they have. That this is a guy who is used to being able to get what he wants when he spends money, but that's not how football works.
Not at all. It's built opposite, man. Football is America's socialism.
Exactly. No wonder he's failing. And it's also not the first. He owns the soccer team in town too, and he just fired that coach also. So he's just. I don't know.
What sucks is he's gonna luck into a good coach. And then it's going to be like, see, even all of this failure in his wake because he can't lose his job.
I'm just glad he's in my division, to be honest. That's the only nice thing I can say about it.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
it's the nicest thing
exactly.
Colts Bucks.
Yeah, Colts Bucks. How about that?
I don't know if I've seen a 27-20 score in a more forgettable game.
Yeah.
But Baker be looking good, man.
I still feel like Baker is really earning his keep.
Yeah, man.
For the most part.
That was my takeaway from this game, man. He's working with what he's got. We were all laughing when they took him, like, oh, yeah, they think that's the answer. That was the fucking answer. I don't know.
I feel like in some way these two quarterbacks kind of remind me of each other, Baker Mayfield and Gardner Minshew. I would say Baker's maybe a little bit better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I trust Baker before Gardner.
Yeah.
And they both have both of their first names are jobs. So we should have known. We should have known, man.
That's really funny. I like that. I will say this. Baker's offensive line completely let him down. I mean, the big difference in this game is obviously, Minshew had plenty of time to throw, whereas Baker was under siege all night long.
Yeah,
he got sacked 6 times.
Yeah, they
had to come out of the game for at least one play, and then in came Kyle Trask, which is, you're not going to want that. You're not going to want that. You are not going to want that.
They're just not going to want that.
Both of the running backs look great. Rashad White is kind of quietly, especially over the last 3 or 4 weeks, has been really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably fair to say that, Zach Moss, while that was fun in the beginning of the year to see him be so good and so successful, this is Jonathan Taylor's backfield. Now, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Michael Pittman Jr. How many times do you just he's just always open?
Throw it up.
10 times specifically. 10 for 107. I mean, it just felt like every time they needed him, he was there for a big play. Yeah, I don't,
Colts are surprising though, man. I didn't know they would be this competitive this season.
Well, in the AFC South has been, kind of surprising this year.
Yeah, we talked that shit before the season.
Nobody had high expectations for the Colts or the Texans, to be honest.
Yep.
And here they are challenging for the division. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Then we got the week.
A shit bowl brought to you by XLEX.
I feel like it needs more shit sounds.
Speaking of teams not challenging for the division.
Well, they did start the quarterback that was benched last week. So we literally got return of the Mac. He did his thing.
Yeah.
Mac Jones came out and showed us why he was benched the week before. Got benched again, man. And I don't blame. I honestly, I don't blame Mac Jones. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
And when we get to superlatives, but nobody saw this coming. We tied a bunch of money to it and got embarrassed. I'm still in shock by this game. I asked my phone on the way home because I had the show, so I was going home to start watching all the games, catch up, and I asked my phone, did the Patriots lose? That's just what I said. Hey, Google, did the Patriots lose? Yes, the Patriots lost. I was like, what? I'm in an argument with Google in my car.
It would be funny if you asked your phone, did the Patriots lose? And then the response is,
of course,
the return of the Wack. Like your phone would just start playing that song.
Return of the Wack.
That would be really funny.
Yeah, man. They let it. I'm actually feeling bad for the Patriots. I didn't know this could happen. I have Patriots fans in my life that are acting. I hate Patriots fans because they're just on this. Oh no, it's good that we're losing. No. Take your fucking losses and be sad about it. I don't want to hear this. It's good that we're losing when you're also saying that Bill Belichick is a horrible GM. This sucks for you, okay? Don't you sit like we sit when our team lose and be sad about it, and don't be all smug with your 6 championships over here. Like, sometimes you can't win them all. No, take your fucking losses and be sad about it. I can't stand Patriots fans.
That to me sounds like a Patriots fan who either wasn't a fan.
No.
For that long,
no, this is a true fan,
or just has,
years, decades,
or just completely forgot how bad they used to be.
That's what it is. Yeah. No, he reminds me. He's like, I sat through the entire 80s and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I was like, all right, man. Well,
whatever. I mean,
fuck Patriots.
The reality in this game is that, the New England Patriots defense did their job. I mean, they held the Giants to 10 points. They sacked Tommy DeVito 6 times. They held the Giants to only 58 total rushing yards. But this offense of the Patriots is just, I mean, outside of Ramondre Stevenson, who had a nice game, I mean, it's just the quarterback situation is just, it's just dreadful. Mac Jones, 12 for 21, 89 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, yeah. I mean, and they and they had a chance to win the game, or they had a chance to tie the game at the end.
Missed the fucking
with the field goal.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I knew the result, and I was like, "Wait, is he gonna miss this kick?"
And mind you, Belichick cut Nick Folk and drafted this rookie kicker in the 4th round.
Yes, 4th round draft pick. And you're happy? You're not happy.
No.
I hate them. You're not happy. You have to have this guy who drafted this kicker who missed that kick. He's going to be in control of this early draft pick your guy's going to get. It sucks, man. You lucked into 2 great defensive players in the recent drafts. They both got hurt. I get that. This isn't good. Fuck the Patriots, man. We'll talk a little bit more about it, yeah. Then we got and what we knew was going to be an exciting game. The Texans played the Jaguars. Jaguars won 24-21. Stroud's fun to watch. Lawrence, the battle between these two, it's encouraging for the future that we're gonna have these guys going at it at least twice a year.
Agreed.
It's great. But I think Stroud comes. I like him more than Lawrence.
Yeah, I do like how there's been a lot of talk about C.J. Stroud the last couple of weeks, and I have to say, very encouraging for Trevor Lawrence to come out and say, "Hold on a second." I mean, this one could have gone either way. Obviously, both quarterbacks played very well. And, I mean, there was some terrible officiating in this game, by the way.
Bruh.
Really, really bad.
I got like yelling at the TV at some of the stuff.
There were several games this weekend where the referees played way too much of an influence.
Yeah.
There was a huge play to Tank Dell that got wiped out for no good reason. There were a couple of other ones that were just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
This game also came down to a final potential game tying field goal. You don't get much closer than that. I mean, the guy puts it literally dead center from what, 50, how many?
Right?
It was a long one. It was 58 yards, and it hits. I mean, it literally hit where the crossbar meets the pipe.
Didn't he take a sack right before that though? So if he didn't take the sack, well, who knows?
Was it a sack or was it a sack or was it a delay of game? Or am I thinking about the Eagles game?
Yeah, that was a false start. They had two false starts. They were I can't wait to talk about that.
But yeah, this is a very encouraging performance by both teams, I think, and
huge win for Jacksonville, though.
A very big win for Jacksonville because when you think that there really aren't that many games left in the season, so to go up to go up by 2 games at this point in the season, it's still possible for them to slip up because they play like that sometimes. But it was just, I think T-Law had a great game. I mean, he threw for 364 yards. Calvin Ridley for 2 weeks in a row. I mean, that's been sort of the knock on them. Like Calvin Ridley will have a great game, and then you don't see him for 3 weeks. Yeah. But this is now 2 weeks in a row where he showed up and balled out.
Jaguars have Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Bucks, Panthers, Titans.
That's a pretty good schedule.
Pretty
favorable.
Favorable schedule for them.
And I don't know. I don't even know what the hell. Well, we'll get to that when we get to the Browns. Well, that's next. Let's talk about the Browns.
Let's go.
Browns lost to the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos, I got to say, I did not see this coming. Is it fair to say that the Broncos are this year's Lions? I mean, they look terrible in the beginning of the year.
Yes, he has officially pulled it out.
They get a 70 burger dropped on their heads by the Dolphins, and then lo and behold, they go on a 5-game heater.
You know what needed to happen?
Crazy.
He needed to talk that shit about Hackett, get it thrown back in his face, and then he was like, all right, and he reached all the way down in his pants. And I'm talking, when I say I'm talking about what's best offensive coach of all time. No, I'm just kidding. Sean Payton reaches down, pulls the whole thing out, showing how big it is. This coaching job he's done, spectacular, man.
Yeah. And
he didn't do that thing where you bail out and you start firing people and all that shit. He's like, oh, we got this. He really had some. I don't know. I like how it's a really good job, Sean Payton. 5 in a row now.
He did a fantastic job. Now, if you just look at the box score, you wouldn't think that Russell Wilson had.
No, he was amazing.
Much of a day because, you look at it, he's only 13 for 22, 134 yards. But the thing is that the Broncos defense was swarming. They caused so many turnovers in this game.
Broncos. Yeah.
The Broncos caused
with the short field.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turnovers or 5 fumbles. 3 of them they recovered. So that's short field. And then they got the run game going. Mm-hmm. So Russ threw for a touchdown, but he also rushed for one. And he was just really good rushing the ball in general.
Mm-hmm. On third down, he was like saving them out of the third down conversions and stuff like that. It was
you saw that play.
Old school Russ.
That play has been all over the place since yesterday. because the audible where Russell goes up and changes the play, and he's like, hey, let's go pizza. We're going to go pizza. He hikes the ball, and then he calls his own number and runs for a first down. And on the broadcast, they were like, yeah, he needs to do that pizza more often. Like,
It's a little Caesar. He's calling it because he's Caesar.
Yeah, exactly. But this was a really great performance from the Broncos. I think a lot of people probably assumed that the Browns defense would terrorize Russell Wilson, but Myles Garrett had some issues in this game. He also injured his shoulder. I think he's day to day. I'm not sure. I don't think it's like super serious, but yeah, I mean, the Broncos showed up and handled their business.
Yeah, man.
And
they put up 29 on the best defense in the NFL.
And also, like, I got to say, as much as we always say, oh, well, defense wins championships. Not when Dorian Thompson-Robinson is your quarterback. I'm sorry, but...
Good point. Because defense gets tired. Defense are humans, and they get tired. That's what the Jets are dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a really good defense. They just out there all game. You look at time of possession. What was time of possession this game? I didn't even see it.
Let's see. I got it right here. Time of possession. It's not that big. It's 32-27.
Oh, they were scoring fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of times that these good defenses are just out there so long. You got to balance that shit.
Well, DTR left the game with a concussion. Which brought in
he hit
PJ
his
Walker.
head hard. Yeah.
So I don't know what their situation is moving forward, but I don't think it matters. I feel like I've been expecting the Browns to start falling apart.
Yeah, since Nick Chubb went down.
Yeah, and I don't see this as a playoff team. I'm sorry. I just don't.
No. The Cardinals though. 10 losses now. Double digits in the loss column. Not many teams have that. And they played the Rams, and the Rams beat that ass like we thought they would.
I mean,
the Rams are fucking 5-6, man, and it's the NFC. They could end up spoiling some playoffs.
I mean, I gotta
Super Bowl hopefuls.
I gotta say this. Besides my man, former Bulldog Matthew Stafford, out here just slinging it. 229 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Of course, he throws a pick. He always throws a pick. He has to throw a pick. Fucking welcome back, Kieran Williams. Good Lord.
It looks good, man.
First game back, 16 carries, 143 yards. But then he also throws in 61 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. I mean, this guy had a monster day. Monster.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Cardinals other than...
I mean, we expected them to be the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, they always start off looking kind of, especially now.
Don't.
I'm saying with Kyler. I'm saying especially with Kyler, like when the game starts, it feels like this team is a team that has something special. So it has some energy. It has some spunk.
But it doesn't have talent.
But exactly. And then eventually you realize like, oh, wait, they don't have any talent.
That pony has one trick.
This was also, this was a really important win for the Rams, especially given the fact that they lost Cooper Kupp early. To a bit of an ankle tweak of some kind. And then Puka Nacua didn't have a very good game either. I think that those 2 receivers, as good as they, especially Puka Nacua, nobody saw that coming at the beginning of the year. But I think sometimes having 2 receivers that you think are going to be that good every game winds up being a bit of a problem. And I think Kieran Williams is the solution to that. Because he comes in and just dominates the game and says, okay, guys, you guys get to have an off day today. I got this. So that's great. Good for the Rams. Yeah.
And then we stay on the West Coast, man. The Raiders. The Raiders, man, they're fun. They're fun, and they gave I could see on the uniforms, because they had the white pants, the Chiefs, shit stains. They were shitting themselves at the beginning of this game. Because they looked like, we're going to have us an upset. And then you look at the score, 31-17. Of course, the Chiefs beat the hell out of them. No. The Chiefs had to bring that shit back. And the Raiders, it was just talent in the end. How we were talking about the Cardinals and the Rams. Just Chiefs talent came up. And shout out to Rice, man. Rashee Rice was doing this thing. And Mahomes is Mahomes. But the Raiders gave them all that they could take. And I don't know. That might be one time where we see an interim coach remain the head coach after next year.
I really hope that they do that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Raiders came out like they were shot out of a cannon, went up 14-0 before the Chiefs.
AOC looking good too.
Yeah, before the Chiefs even had time to blink. I mean, Jacoby Myers had a nice touchdown, and then Josh Jacobs with that 63-yard touchdown run was great. And it really felt like, oh, gee, because, we've been thinking about the Chiefs in kind of a different way this year, and a little worried, are they going to be able to put this together, given their situation with the receiver core and whatnot. But they responded. They managed to tie the game up. It was 14-14 going into the half, and then they came out of the second half and just kept their foot on the gas pedal and steamrolled the Las Vegas Raiders. Rashee Rice with 107 yards and a touchdown. Pacheco looked good.
Yeah.
Kelsey had his first good game in a while. It was,
man. He turned it back a little bit. And I'm not a degenerate gambler that much, but if I was, then I would say the thing to do for the rest of the season is in-game betting on the Chiefs to come back and win. They were down 14 in this game. It was like, you know what? It's time to go and see how much money I can make saying they're going to win this game. It might be a thing to look at. I
think it might be a thing to look at for the next team as well, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, my God.
Who this has
to be. They've given another game.
This has to be one of those.
Hold on, I got one for you. I got one for you, man.
Yeah.
I want you to pull up the Eagles schedule for this. All right? Pull up the Eagles schedule, and the Eagles have 10. Their record is 10-1 right now. Skip, I want you to go through their schedule and tell me how many games have the Eagles won and how many games have the other teams lost for the Eagles.
In the remaining schedule, let's see.
No. I mean the games they've won. They're 10-1.
Yeah.
So some of those games the Eagles just won, and some of those games the other team just gave it up to the Eagles because their ineptitude created a victory. So how many wins do the Eagles have where they were the better team that day, and how many did they just snatch away from the other team that fucked up?
I would say, well, this game for sure. That's one.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
The Chiefs game for sure. Cowboys game too.
Yep.
Commanders maybe.
Oh,
that
yep.
One was tight.
Weren't they both like that?
I would say the other they played the Commanders twice this year.
It happened twice. Yep.
Yeah, it happened twice. The other games were fairly convincing.
Yeah. They beat the Dolphins.
I would say half of their wins. 5
wins that the teams just fell apart, collapsed. I do think it's part of their DNA, the pressure they put on teams. It's like it's a constant, it's like being chased by a bear. You know what I'm saying? Or that nightmare you have where it's like, God damn, I can't shake this guy. They are Jason Voorhees, the football team, that you just keep looking back and you keep falling and all this shit, and next thing you know, you're dead. And that's what the Eagles are. It's crazy. They missed 2 field goals. Josh Allen did his Josh Allen thing. And then they make a fucking 60-yarder after 2 false starts by a Hall of Fame center. Jason Kelsey has 2 flinches at and cost them 10 yards, and the kicker is still Elliott, who they drafted this year, right? I think he's a rookie kicker.
I don't.
He came out of nowhere, but this kicker fucking nails it in the nasty weather that has caused 2 missed makeable field goals by the Bills, and they win this game. I was just I was shocked. I hate the Bills, but I was just like, I can't believe it. And the Bills decided as a team who saw what can happen in 13 seconds, decided to kneel to go into the half with 20 seconds on the clock and a timeout in their pocket.
This was by far the most fascinating game. No, I know what you mean. No, it was at the half. It was the half. It was the half. I know what you're talking about. There were so many fascinating things to talk about with regards to this game. This was another game where the officiating was criminal.
Bruh.
It was so bad.
And I saw it happen this season because we couldn't get a call in the Eagles game, Dolphins versus Eagles. And I'm not saying Dolphins would have won that game, but I was just like, damn, can we get something? And it was just like that with the Bills. I was like, okay, I guess at home, you're not gonna get no calls, man. God damn.
Yeah, it was criminal. That being said, there were a number of occasions that the Bills could have changed their fate despite the officiating. They
made great plays. The Eagles made great plays too. Devontae Smith.
If I had to point to one thing that I found a little disturbing regarding the Bills is the way they played defense, like late in the fourth quarter, as well as in overtime, where it was kind of like, remember that game a couple of years ago where the Detroit Lions got their first victory of the year? Or maybe that was last year. And it was like, we were trying to figure out, like, what are the Vikings doing? Why are they playing such – I get it. Their prevent defense was so soft.
Back,
They did the same thing. The Bills did the same thing in this game. And again, like you said, considering that they're the team that knows what can happen to you in 13 seconds. Like, I get that you're trying not to give up the big shot. But, man, you're giving these guys too much space. It's almost like you're just saying, why don't you go ahead and kick the game tying field goal and let's do the overtime thing. Josh Allen, the thing that's probably the most upsetting for Bills fans is that Josh Allen probably just played like the game of his life. He puts the team on his back, he put the cape on and just said, fuck it, we got to win this football game. He's got 81 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He also threw for 2 touchdowns.
That's a dumbass pick. And didn't he fumble too?
Yeah.
I mean, like, he was Josh Allen. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And they embrace it.
But defense
he gave them the best chance, man. It was like times when I was like, he's going to run this, and he's going to get the first down. And he fucking ran it, and he got the fucking first down.
Yeah. And the defense played great in the first half. I mean, like, Jalen Hurts was terrible in the first half. He was absolutely terrible. But then he comes out in the second half, and he accounts for all 5 of their touchdowns. Yeah. He threw for 3 of them and rushed for the other 2.
Yeah.
It's just something about, I think to me, this is a combination of a team that the Philadelphia Eagles, it just doesn't get flustered when they're playing from behind.
No matter what. Yep.
And you have a team like the Bills who have put themselves in a situation where all of their games feel like must-win games at this point. They can't afford to make a mistake. They're clutching the ball too tight. Yeah. And it all comes crashing down at the end. I mean, that opportunity to win the game in overtime where Josh Allen just threw it was a pass from Josh Allen to Gabe Davis. Supposedly it was a choice route, and both guys are saying
to make different choices.
Gabe Davis is saying, "Well, I had 2 choices and I picked the wrong one," and Josh Allen basically said the same thing. But that was, to me, that was the ball game. That was it.
Yeah. Man, it looked like it was over, and he had him beat by 5 yards. I think if Allen knew that, he just throw it at him instead of picking a spot. Throw it at him.
He was wide open.
Yeah. But you can't blame Josh Allen. He played a fucking great game. And in the end, as we know, he's fool's gold, so we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm back
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
The other thing I have to say is that, for me, the big difference in this game, obviously, is the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they have so many good Georgia Bulldogs on this team. It's ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you got to admit.
I think about it every time I watch the games, too.
You got to admit, like, in the clutch, DeAndre Swift didn't score a touchdown, but he had some huge moments at the end of the game when they needed a first down. And then, of course, one of those missed field goals was a big-ass Jalen Carter.
Was that a Georgia hand?
That was Jalen Carter getting up on that thing.
He jumped high.
And it's just...
he kicked that low, too. I was like, word? I'm over here. We done picked the... we got that bet, though. But
they said it on the broadcast, but they didn't... They said there's something about these Philadelphia Eagles where even though they haven't won a championship, they feel like they're a team that has a championship mentality.
Yeah.
And they didn't really say why, but I answered it for them. And I was like, that's because you got all those fucking dogs out there. Those back-to-back national champions are out there.
Smart, yeah.
That's where that championship mentality comes
Teams
from.
Should do that, man.
And Jalen Hurts, too. And I add Jalen Hurts into that as well, because that's a guy who knows how to win.
Devontae Smith.
And Devontae Smith, too. You got that Alabama, Georgia love making right there in that Eagles universe, and it's working out beautiful for them, I think.
What about Louisville? Any thoughts on Louisville players?
Well, normally I don't think about Louisville players.
No.
I mean, I do. I like Lamar Jackson, but Louisville is generally not a very relevant college football team. Although they are playing for their conference championship this coming weekend.
Okay. Well, maybe that's why they beat the shit out of the Chargers, man. The Ravens. No, they beat the shit out of them. The Ravens. I don't know, man. Chargers. I don't know. It's time. It's been time.
I spent my whole day yesterday refreshing my browser, expecting the Brandon Staley got fired thing, and
then Frank Reich comes up.
And then Frank Reich, I was like, wait, how?
How, man? All this money I put on this coach fired in season, just getting burned. No, we didn't bet on it, but still, I mean, Justin Herbert is trying his best, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I guess they held the Ravens to 20 points.
Sure.
That defense. But they only put up 10 points. It's like he can't do it all. I don't know. I guess they're not supposed to beat the Ravens, but it just seems like a team that's just like out there going through the motions, and they need some type of spark. It's 4-7. That means they're gonna have to kind of win out to get to the playoffs, and you're not gonna do that with Brandon Staley. So it's a failed season with a strong roster that costs a lot of money.
And also, I mean, the Chargers had huge issues with turnovers in this game. They lost 3 fumbles, and Justin Herbert threw a pick. That's a recipe for 10 points right there. No wonder you can't score. You got to hold on to the fucking football. You're just making it. I mean, because it's not like Lamar had a great day by his standards. You know what I mean? Like, this was a day.
Yep.
Defensively speaking, which, has been a real problem for the Chargers. I mean, your defense, in a way, if you think about it, holding the Ravens to 20 points, in my opinion, that's your defense giving you a chance to win. But
don't ask the question anymore.
Yeah,
Stop asking that question. He's calling the plays.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the Chargers are totally irrelevant. They're 4-7. I don't even know. It just seems weird, given.
Very weird.
Given what they have. I will say this. I think it's time for them to just completely redo their whole running back room.
Yeah.
Completely. Eckler runs like he has a piano on his back. And, they did one trick play in this game, which was super fun. They threw it to... Herbert threw it to Keenan Allen.
Oh, yeah, and got back to
And then
Herbert.
he threw it all the way across the field, but, in a backwards angle to Herbert. That was fun as hell.
Yeah, that was nice.
Not something you would expect from a team that only has 10 points on the board. But
Oof. Speaking of 10 points, have you seen the Monday game? I watched it this morning.
I haven't seen it. I read about it this morning. I heard that Josh Dobbs had a terrible evening.
Yeah, he did. He's just throwing picks. It was another game where the Vikings defense, who was the worst defense in the NFL, just came out flying around. I was like, damn, they looked great. And then it was funny because the commentator was like saying how they got so many good players on the Vikings defense. Nobody was saying that at the beginning of the season.
No.
The only one anybody talked about was Harrison Smith, and he's old by football standards. But they came at him. They blitzed a lot, like we said. Fields was under attack, and he lost the game. I thought he lost the game for him. I was ready to say he lost the game for him because he tried to scramble, and he fumbled again, and the Vikings got the ball, but they could do nothing with it. And I think that's when they fumbled. They just gave it up again, over and over again, until the Bears finally got a game-winning field goal with 20 seconds left. And then the Vikings did the worst, besides the Mac Jones one, the worst pitch back. Remember he threw the one to the...
Oh, yeah, that one is the worst, for sure.
But, yeah, they had a bad one themselves, and then the Bears win in where there was way too much excitement for a 10-12 game. But it was fun watching those two defenses go at it, man. It felt like an old NFC Central. Remember that? NFC Central game, the black and blue division. But nothing much more to say besides Josh Dobbs throwing 4 picks and coming back down to earth. And
I have a question. Have we gotten to that part of the year where the NFL can flex some of these?
Yeah, because I see
time?
TBD. I see TBD on some games, so they are thinking about flexing stuff.
Because next week's Monday Night Football game.
And my taxi comes in 9 minutes, bro.
Bengals Jaguars does not feel good to me. All right. Yeah, that's all the games. Let's rip through the superlatives. My man Jonathan has got places to go, people to see.
Yeah, man. Well, I got to say my real MVP, Matthew Stafford, had himself a day. Came into the season thinking the team was done.
Woo!
That they
Where did he go to college? I don't remember.
He went to Georgia. He's a bulldog, man. We got to get them great out there. He's often injured, and we said he's past his prime. And then this game, he started off with a beautiful throw, dropped right in Tutu Atwell's bucket, and never looked back. He turned back the clock, turned it into a 4-touchdown, 1 interception performance on Sunday, 25 for 33, 229 yards. Stafford is part of why the Rams fans have some belief and, more importantly, having fun on game day. Matt Stafford, I got to say it, man. You're the real MVP.
I love it.
You the real MVP.
I should probably say my man Bijan Robinson, who had 123 total yards, both rushing and receiving, plus 2 big touchdowns to beat the hated New Orleans Saints. But I'm actually going to go with Jesse Bates, the motherfucking third. Without this dude, there's no way the Falcons win this game. 12 tackles, Lord knows how many pass breakups, a forced fumble in the red zone, and a 92-yard pick six. In a world where both Arthur Smith, Next Gen Stats, and the aptly nicknamed Desmond Shitter all appear to be conspiring to ruin my Sundays, Jesse Bates III was out here almost single-handedly making sure the Falcons did not blow this game. Thank you, Jesse Bates, for delivering the first calm, no-stress Sunday that I have been praying for all season. And yeah, fuck the Saints.
You the real MVP.
Who's your trash?
For me, it's the Patriots v. Giants, like as a whole game. I mean, just like a colossal shit bowl from two teams that were, that we are used to thinking of as like the gold standard in the NFL. 14 punts in this game. Patriots used 2 different quarterbacks, and together they couldn't outduel Tommy DeVito, who only threw for 191 yards. Wack Jones had 2 picks. Bailey Zappi had 1. Both of these teams should be just completely embarrassed to even put on football helmets, to be honest. The only player who deserves any credit is the Patriots rookie field goal kicker, Chad Ryland, who missed the potential game-tying 35-yard field goal that would have sent this game into overtime. Ending this game in regulation by missing that 35-yard chip shot was a gift to all of us, so we didn't have to watch a single second more of this shit bowl. Thank you very much, Chad Ryland. Giants v. Patriots, you are trash.
You are trash!
Well, this one actually hurt me financially this week. It took too long for me to get here. We tied money to the Patriots in a few bets and then watched them burn down every single dime in a piss-poor performance that resulted in 7 points after 60 minutes of play. 5 years ago, you could have never imagined a Bill Belichick team looking like that dog shit we saw out on the field Saturday. It's disgraceful. I'm not going to say I'm not thoroughly enjoying the fall of the hooded empire, but that doesn't mean I'm not shocked. The 2-9 record isn't why he's trash. The stripping down of the little confidence his quarterback had isn't why he's trash. Losing to a rookie, third-string quarterback that nobody had heard of before 3 weeks ago, coming off a bye week, isn't even why he's trash. It's the audacity to handle the media as if he's still out there making unquestionable decisions for a winning football team. That shit was cute when we knew you would possibly be hoisting a trophy with an I told you so grin on your face, but now your team's 2-9. You seemingly broke your quarterback through 2 years of abhorrent decision-making. You lost to a trash-ass team coached by your former employee. You're going to be asked some fucking questions now. People need to understand if you actually have things under control because it doesn't look like it. And here's a clip from the post-game interview that I'll play for you right now.
Too much poor ball security on offense. Turned the ball over too many times. Got away from us. Even a few times that we didn't turn it over, missed an opportunity at the end of the game to put it into overtime. So, just not good enough.
50 split in practice between Mac and Bailey during the week?
I don't know. Probably not quite, but I'm not sure.
You don't know how long you had to...
Since Mac did start, was that fair to him to not get enough, not get all the reps in practice during the week?
Yeah, I think everybody had plenty of reps.
What went into the decision?
It's like, no, it's like that's the way he's answering his questions. People have questions for you, Bill. People got questions. You fucking losing, man.
Wow.
People need to understand if you know what's going on. Are you fucking kidding me? We really need to know, Bill. Did you really split practice reps? Because that could be why neither guy looked good. We want to know, Bill. You won't be hoisting a trophy. We can't relax, Bill. You're going to the Hall of Fame, but the players in that locker room deserve someone competent, Bill. And it's not looking like it's you, Bill. As a matter of fact, Bill, you are trash. That's what I had to say.
Wow.
My shit got learned. I didn't notice, but Matt Eberflus, before the game last night, was 0-9 versus the NFC North.
Oh, wow.
And 0-10 versus teams with winning records in his career as head coach. He's still he's 0-10 against those teams. Everyone knows the key to getting to the playoffs is beating your division rivalry. I think fans will be okay losing a bunch of games, but beating their heated rivals. But you're not giving them that. I don't know if Matt Eberflus lasts outside of this season, even though they won that game. But that was my shit got learned. Matt Eberflus, man, his seat should be hotter than we thought it would be.
That's a good point. For me, the shit that I learned is that the Eagles are starting to feel inevitable. We keep talking about how they don't look as good as they looked last year, and yet I think the fact that they keep stacking these improbable wins arguably makes them better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Battle tested, winning games when you're outgained and in some cases slightly outplayed. This is the sign of a team destined to be the last team standing. This is now the fourth straight week where the Eagles have found a way to win despite being down at the half, making them one of only 4 teams to accomplish a streak like this.
Wow.
You got the 71 Browns, the 2006 Titans, the 2011 Cardinals, and now these Eagles. Only teams to win 4 straight comeback victories.
They didn't even win the Super Bowl.
Right. They've actually come back after being down at the half 5 total times this season, while the rest of the NFL is only 35 and 129 at doing that. History tells us that the team who loses the Super Bowl rarely makes it back the year after, and those that do almost always lose it again. Only twice has the Super Bowl loser come back and won it the year after. The 1970 Cowboys and the 1971 Dolphins. I'm starting to think that the 2023 Eagles are going to be the 3rd team to add their name to that list.
Wow. My scariest AFC team is the Chiefs. They were down and just like the Eagles you're talking about, came back and figured it out. It feels like they're going to do that for the season. Just figure it out. Who's your scariest AFC team?
I like the Chiefs. I feel like their inconsistency makes me a little nervous. So I'm going to say Ravens. I think Ravens heading into their bye atop the AFC, a chance to rest late in the season while everybody else continues to beat the shit out of each other. I like the Ravens right now in the AFC.
Yeah, NFC, Eagles, of course.
Yeah.
They're the best team in football. Put some Spec. I'm going to say Russell Wilson. Who you putting Spec on?
I'm going to say Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. I wrote this dude off, and now he feels like he's back showing us what he's made of. He looks really good. I like him.
Nice. Well, I'm sorry I had to run like that. That's I made it tight. But thank y'all for checking it out. It has been another episode of SveNFL, man. We'll be back to talk about the predictions for week fucking 13. Unlucky week. We'll probably win some money because it's unlucky week. It's been Jonathan Rollins.
Excuse me, Sora.
What's SveNFL? We'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Later, y'all.